So you was being tit for tat.
It's not tit for tat.
I thought it was tit for tat.
It's not tit for tat. Because how many times have you seen me do it? Never.
So you did it one time.
It don't matter. That's not tit for tat. If you done did it 30 times, I do it once. That's not tit for tat,
but
bro.
You did.
Are you serious? I'm the bad guy.
Me not agreeing with Jock.
What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into a storm nobody could have predicted. Cameras were rolling, the table was set, the mood was supposed to be light. But the second Jock opened his mouth and Ashley clapped back, it all went downhill. 9 years of marriage, 15 years of history, and instead of joy, fans were left watching chaos unfold on screen. This wasn't just a simple disagreement. No, this was the kind of raw, unfiltered blow-up that love and hip-hop Atlanta thrives on. The kind of argument that makes you sit up, lean forward, and wonder how do people who claim to love each other so much could rip into each other so viciously in front of the world. And if you were watching closely, you know the moment it all shifted. It started when Jock tried to talk about double standards, about how men and women are judged differently when they express themselves. But instead of agreeing, Ashley smirked, and from that smirk came fire. Jock leaned in, voice rising, frustration dripping from every word as he said it wasn't about tit for tat. It was deeper than that. But Ashley wasn't backing down. She laughed, she mocked, she threw his own words back at him like darts. The more he tried to explain himself, the louder he got and the more dismissive she became. This wasn't a husband and wife calmly talking through issues. This was a clash of egos, pride, and years of resentment bubbling over in the worst way possible. Ashley accused him of always playing the victim, while Jock shot back that she never gave him space to be vulnerable without calling him aggressive. It was raw, it was messy, and it was the exact kind of spectacle fans can't stop talking about. The irony of it all? It was their anniversary. 9 years of marriage, a milestone most couples would be proud of, turned into a battleground. Happy anniversary, someone at the table muttered, but nobody was smiling. Instead, Jock kept repeating himself, it's not tit for tat. It's not tit for tat, as if saying it enough times would make her understand. But Ashley just leaned back, shook her head, and with one cutting line flipped the script. So you did it one time and now you're the bad guy? That line hit, and you could see the vein in Jock's forehead pulse as he tried to hold his composure. The cameras zoomed in, the room grew tense, and suddenly everyone watching knew this wasn't just a small marital spat. This was years of pent-up frustration playing out in real time. The more Ashley laughed, the angrier Jock became. And the more Jock raised his voice, the more Ashley played it cool. It was a cycle neither of them could break. One moment he was accusing her of running to social media to air their dirty laundry. The next she was calling him out for being overly dramatic. Fans online were split. Some sided with Ashley, praising her for standing her ground and not letting Jock bulldoze the conversation. Others defended Jock, saying he had a point about double standards, that men often get painted as villains for expressing the same emotions women are applauded for. But no matter which side you were on, you couldn't deny the tension was electric. And then came the part that sent Twitter into flames. Jock tried to explain that when women cry or yell, it's called passion, but when men do it, it's called aggression. He pounded his chest, raised his voice, practically begged for someone to understand. But Ashley cut him off mid-sentence. No, that's just you, she snapped, rolling her eyes. The crowd gasped, the cast shifted uncomfortably, and you could feel the heat radiating from the table. Jock's face twisted, his tone grew sharper, and for a split second it looked like he might just walk away. But he didn't, he stayed, he fought. He pushed back harder than ever. The word anniversary kept floating around the conversation like a cruel reminder of what this moment should have been. 9 years, 15 if you count the entire relationship. But instead of reminiscing about love, growth, and family, they were counting grievances, tallying mistakes, and dragging skeletons out of closets for the whole world to see. There's been a lot of mistakes, Ashley admitted, almost proudly, as if throwing it in his face gave her power. And Jock, visibly exhausted, tried to reason with her, tried to explain that no one ever really knows their partner because people change every day. But instead of calming the storm, his words only fueled it. Ashley snapped back with sarcasm, dismissing him like a schoolteacher scolding a child. And the more she did it, the more the audience leaned in. This wasn't just a conversation about relationships anymore. This was a fight for control, for dominance, for who gets to own the narrative. And both Jock and Ashley knew the cameras were catching every second. At one point, you could even see Jock gesture toward the production crew, almost pleading for them to understand that he wasn't the bad guy. But reality TV doesn't care who's right or wrong. It cares about moments that go viral. And this one was a goldmine. Are you serious? Jock shouted, voice cracking as he threw his hands in the air. I'm the bad guy? And Ashley, with a sly grin, just looked at him and said nothing. That silence said more than words ever could. It was her way of telling him she'd already won. And fans knew it too. Social media lit up with memes, gifs, and commentary the second the episode aired. Clips of Jock shouting, "It's not tit for tat" played on repeat across TikTok, while Ashley's smirk became the newest reaction meme on Twitter. But what cut the deepest wasn't the jokes. It was the reality that behind all the laughter, this was a marriage teetering on the edge. 9 years in, and instead of stability, viewers saw cracks big enough to swallow the whole foundation. Even Kendra, sitting nearby, couldn't hide her concern, shaking her head as if she'd seen this all before. Other cast members exchanged awkward glances, unsure whether to intervene or let the fight burn itself out. But if you know love and hip-hop, you know nothing ever just burns out. It always spreads out by the time the cameras pulled back. Both Jock and Ashley looked drained. His face was red, his voice hoarse from yelling. She was calm, composed, almost smug, sipping her drink like nothing had happened. And that's what made fans furious. Because to some, it felt like Ashley had baited him, pushed him to explode, and then sat back to enjoy the show. But to others, it was Jock's inability to control his temper that ruined what should have been a special night. Either way, the anniversary dinner ended not with a toast, not with a kiss, but with cold stares and heavy silence. And here's the thing, when a fight like this happens off camera, maybe it fades away. Maybe the couple works it out behind closed doors. But on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, nothing fades. Everything lingers. Everything multiplies. The clips circulate, the hashtags trend, the fans dissect every word. By the next morning, Jock and Ashley's marriage wasn't just their business anymore. It was everybody's business. And the worst part? Both of them knew it. Which is why when the night finally ended and the cameras cut, neither of them left together. They stormed out separately, leaving fans to wonder, is this the beginning of the end for Jock and Ashley? Because if this is how they celebrate 9 years, what does year 10 even look like? The fallout from that anniversary dinner didn't just end when the camera stopped rolling. If anything, that was just the beginning. By the time the episode aired, social media had already turned the heated exchange between Jock and Ashley into a circus. Clips of Jock yelling about tit for tat were stitched into TikToks, remixed into songs, and plastered across timelines as memes. Fans weren't just laughing, they were choosing sides, dissecting every glare, every laugh. Every time Ashley rolled her eyes or Jock threw his hands up. And when reality TV becomes internet fuel, the fire never dies down for Ashley. It almost felt like a win. She posted cryptic Instagram stories about standing your ground and not letting anyone silence your truth. Her followers flooded the comments with heart emojis, calling her a queen, saying she carried herself with grace while Jock lost his temper. Meanwhile, Jock stayed quiet. No posts, no tweets, no clapbacks, just silence. And in this world, silence speaks volumes. To fans, it looked like he was embarrassed, maybe even defeated. But behind the scenes, that silence was building into something else, resentment. When the next scene filmed, Jock walked in with his head high but his guard up. You could see it in his body language, shoulders tense, jaw clenched, eyes darting. He knew what people were saying. He knew the internet had crowned Ashley the winner of that fight. And he wasn't about to let that narrative stick. The moment he sat down with the fellas, Scrappy, Spice, and Mendices, it all spilled out. "They painting me like the bad guy, bro," he muttered, voice low but heavy with frustration. "All I did was try to speak my truth, and now everybody's saying I'm aggressive. Like I can't even defend myself without getting labeled. Can't even defend myself without getting labeled." Scrappy leaned back, shaking his head, half smirking. "Man, that's marriage for you. You ain't never gone win when the camera's on, not against a woman. They gon' always side with her, no matter what." But Mendices wasn't laughing. He leaned forward, looked Jock dead in the eye, and said, "You let her get under your skin. That's the problem. You gave her the power. Once you snapped, she ain't even have to say nothing else. You made yourself the bad guy." That stung. Because deep down, Jock knew it was true. The anger, the shouting, the chest pounding, all of it played right into Ashley's hands. She stayed calm, she stayed collected, and by comparison, he looked like the one who couldn't control himself. And in the world of reality TV, perception is everything. But what really pushed things over the edge was when Ashley showed up later with the girls, Kendra, Yandy, and Spice, and doubled down on her side of the story. Laughing, sipping her drink, she told them how Jock got so worked up over a simple word. He kept saying it's not tit for tat, like a broken record. She giggled. And I'm just sitting there like, are you serious? You the one who been doing it for years, and the one time I do it, suddenly you the victim? The women roared with laughter, nodding, clapping, egging her on. And with every laugh, every joke, the divide grew deeper. Kendra tried to step in. Tried to cool things down by saying marriage is about growth and forgiveness. But Ashley wasn't hearing it. Forgiveness don't mean I gotta sit there and let him gaslight me, she snapped, cutting Kendra off. And just like that, the lines were drawn. It wasn't just Jock versus Ashley anymore. It was men versus women, perception versus reality, passion versus aggression. By the time they all came together again for the group event, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Jock and Ashley avoided eye contact at first, both sitting on opposite sides of the room. But everyone else felt it. Spice, never one to hold her tongue, finally called it out. So y'all just gonna sit there and act like y'all didn't just have World War III at your own anniversary dinner? She said, throwing her hands in the air. The room froze, eyes darting back and forth between the couple, waiting for someone to break. It was Ashley who spoke first. Calm, collected, sharp. I don't regret a thing I said. 9 years in, if he still don't know how to talk to me without blowing up, that's his problem, not mine. The words sliced through the air, and before anyone could even react, Jock shot up from his seat. His voice boomed, shaking the room. You think this a joke? You think embarrassing me on camera make you the bigger person? You laughing, but you killing us, Ashley? You killing this marriage, the cast gasped. Nobody had expected Jock to lay it out so raw, so final. And for a moment, even Ashley looked shaken. But instead of backing down, she stood up to met his glare and fired back. This marriage been killing itself. Don't blame me for finally speaking my truth. That was it. The dam had broken. Both of them shouting, voices overlapping, the group trying to calm them down but failing. Scrappy stepped between them at one point, holding Jock back while Yanni pulled Ashley aside. But neither wanted peace. They wanted to be heard, to be right, to win. And in that moment, you could see it. This wasn't just about a dinner or a fight, or even double standards. This was about years of hurt, years of resentment, years of problems they'd never truly fixed. Fans watching at home couldn't believe what they were seeing. The comment sections exploded with theories. Was this the fight that would finally break Jock and Ashley for good? Could their marriage survive being dragged across social media, turned into a meme, ridiculed by fans who don't know the half of what goes on behind closed doors? Or was this just another love and hip-hop moment, one that would fade by next episode? Patched up with apologies and empty promises? The truth is, nobody knew. Not the cast, not the crew, not even Jock and Ashley themselves. Because when a marriage gets to this point, when the fights aren't about solutions but about survival, it's only a matter of time before something snaps for real. And as the cameras cut on that final screaming match, the only thing clear was that the chaos was far from over. Because if this is how Jock and Ashley handle year 9, then what happens at year 10? Do they make it? Or does Love and Hip Hop Atlanta become the stage where their marriage officially collapses? The answers aren't here yet. But one thing is certain, the whole world is watching. And Jock and Ashley can't hide anymore. They can't hide anymore.